वंशी विभूषितकरान्नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरादरुणबिम्बफलाधरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने. Welcome to the scripture class on Friday. And today the scripture is Uddhava Gita. In Uddhava Gita, we are studying the instruction given by Sri Krishna to Uddhava about spiritual life. And there have been so far in the chapter, the chapter that we're studying, chapter 5, about in about 10 verses, Sri Krishna gave the instruction how should we do practice, how should be our attitude towards equanimity towards all, and devotion to the Guru, and practicing of yama and niyama. That's so important to have our spiritual life strong, and that he said. About we did until verse 7. So today we do from verse 8. विलक्षण स्थूल सूक्ष्मात् देहाद आत्मेक्षिता सुदृक् यथाग्निर्दारुणो दाह्यात् दाहकोन्य प्रकाशकः. The Atman, the philosophy has come now. Philosophy. Without philosophy, without the knowledge of the self, ultimate establishment in the truth cannot be done. Total eradication of ignorance cannot be done without the philosophy. Though all practices of yama, niyama, guru bhakti, sadachara, all those practice of spirituality, all those are needed to strengthen our understanding. Without even selfless action, all will make our understanding clear. That is, we'll get established in the philosophy, in the knowledge of the self. And something now from verse 8 comes in about the philosophy. Vilakshana sthula sukshmat dehat atmekshita sudrik yathagni daruno dahyat dahakonyas prakashakaha. Verse 8. The Atman, the self effulgent witness, is distinct from the gross and subtle bodies. So comes the philosophy of Atman and the body. Body we have, in fact, two types of body you can say, three types you can say. So if we divide the body into two, one is gross and is subtle. The third is causal. Causal body is not often difficult to describe. It is also very subtle. Going to subtlety, we cannot find the causal body. It becomes active when we are asleep. Only then there's the awareness or aware closeness to the causal body. Otherwise, we are aware of the gross body and subtle body in the waking state, and only subtle body in the dream state. In dream state, gross body doesn't work. In causal state, that is deep sleep, even the subtle body doesn't work there. No mind is there, no thought is there. So, like that, three different bodies. So, mostly in waking and dream, when we are aware, either aware of dream or the dream world or aware of the waking world, then this gross body and subtle body they are active. So it's the verse 8 says the Atman, the self-effulgent witness. So that's what is called Swadvik, is the witness. Atmek Shita, the, who can look upon itself, and he is the witness. Swadvik, it is not seen by anything, it is a witness, true witness. All else is the drishya. So who is Drik? That Atman is the Drik. That's what the witness. Is Vilakshana, is distinct from what? Sthula Sukshma Dehad. So it is different from bodies. What bodies? Sthula and Sukshma, two type of body. Sthula Deha is this physical body made up of food, as they say, Annamaya Kosha, made up of food consisting of skin and flesh and blood and bone marrow, all that, and internal organs, all that is the Sthula Deha and the gross body. So gross body is different from Atman. Gross body is the object. We see it. It is not the witness, it is being witnessed, it is being observed, it is being perceived. And there is another body, like this gross body we have, that is also being perceived, that is also being found out, uh, seen, and that body is called subtle body, Sukshma Deha. Sukshma Deha is what? Sukshma Deha is our mind, intellect, ideas, will. All those things are Sukshma Deha. Those are always with us, and those are so different from physical body, but they are also part of the subtle body, so they are also observed, they are not witness. So who observe that? The true witness or the Atman observes. So they are vilakshana, separate from the Atman. How do you discern the body from the witness or the self? Through the perception of Drik Drishya Viveka. What is seen or perceived, and who is the perceiver? Perceiver is the Drik, and that is the witness, and perceived thing, observed thing, uh, that is what you call as drishya, or that is the object. So though this sthulas deha and sushma deha both are object, so they are different from the witness or the observer. And this or that observer, true observer, is the witness, and that is the consciousness. That's how it goes. Uh, and he gives the example of beautifully example of how we see body, the mind, we see the pranas, the vital force working, we see the gross body with different parts and body organs, but the consciousness or witness is not seen. And he gives the example like firewood and the fire, and says yathagni daruno dahyat dahakonya prakashaka, as a blazing fire that burns and illumines each other than the combustible wood. So the concept is the wood has that fire, and fire is not wood. Fire comes from within the wood. Fire is as if the spirit of the wood, the power of the wood, the fire is inside the wood. Subtle is not seen, but the fire comes out from the wood. So like that is the Atman or the witness, that is there pervading the whole body, and it has to be brought out or become aware of this witness. We have to be aware of the presence of witness as the self, as the Drik. So that is what is needed, and that blazing fire burns and illumines. That is the one illuminating thing. It burns. It comes out of the firewood, but the firewood is not the fire. Firewood comes from the fire, but firewood is not the fire. So that's the concept that here Sri Krishna says to Uddhava. And next, let's go to next verse, all little philosophical, all coming. Nirodhotpatti anu brihad nanatvam tatpritan gunan antah pravishta adhatta evam deha gunan parah. As fire entering into the wood imbibes the attributes due to it, such as destruction and origin, nirodha utpatti. The at minuteness and hugeness, anu brihat, and diversity, nanatvam. So also does the Atman, the attributes of the body. Now, fire and the firewood, the example is given with the body and the Atman. Fire entering the firewood has, when it comes out, when it blazes forth from the firewood, it has something to do with the firewood. When the firewood is small, the fire will be small. Firewood is of whatever color, red color, the fire will be red. It absorbs the color of the firewood. And also, it has the characteristic something association with the firewood. So, this Atman or the reality of the witness being with the body, Has something, this body has some contamination as it were, appearing contamination, appearing influence on the Atman. So that's what it wants to say. That's why it imbibes the attributes of the body. Atman imbibes as it were. In reality, it doesn't change. Atman is same. But it seems the Atman, the consciousness that comes out through our mind, out through our brain, all has the effect of the brain and Atman that comes out. If your mind is pure, the pure consciousness manifests, it comes out, comes forth in the purity. If mind is impure, that impurity comes out. Though all the attributes of the mind and body that works and action and the inspiration, everything is from the soul, from the Atman. But that the influence of the mind in manifesting the power of the soul is there. You cannot deny that. So, like the firewood influences the fire, quality of fire, or the color of fire, or the size of the fire, like that, this body mind has influence over the expression of the Atman. Not in the Atman as such. Atman is same. In Kathopanishad, it is said about the fire. They say fire as it enters different things. So it takes the color of that. Similarly, the Atman or the consciousness entering different bodies appears in a different way. It behaves in a different way because of the body. So body and the witness, body and the Atman or the soul, they work in combination. So and each influence other. The real person is the Atman, but somehow the manifestation of that real person is hindered or affected by the body, Sthula and Sukshma. The footnote says here the principle of fire is without form and is omnipresent, but we wrongly identify it with the fuel. So here also it seems that we identify by mistake or appearingly it influences the soul as it were. In reality, soul is untouched by any action or quality of this limiting adjuncts or upadhis, this body, mind, pranas, intellect, all those are upadhis, limiting adjuncts. They limit the full manifestation of the Atman. But they appear to have influence on the Atman as it were. Really, Atman cannot be affected. So subtle is the Atman cannot be affected by either the gross body, even by the subtle body. But it appears that way. Let's go to next verse. योऽसौ गुणैर्विरचितो देहोऽयं पुरुषस्य हि संसारस्तन्निबन्धोऽयं पुंसो विद्यात् चिदात्मना. The body, which is created by Lord's attribute known as Maya, you said Gunair Virachito. This body Virachito means created by what? Gunai. What is Guna? Guna is Maya. Three Guna. Sattva Rajastama. Those are the attributes of Maya. Dehoyam ayam deha purusasya hi. Purusasya means lords. Purusasya is the ruler. And that lords created this body, but it is created by the Lord's attribute known as Maya. This Maya, Lord's Maya creates this body. It is the verily cause of man's transmigration. Samsara tan nibandhoyam. This samsara comes because creation by the Maya. So it transmigration is inevitable when the body is created by Maya. When the Atman has to somehow feel like going in and through the Maya or attributes or gunas, then there is samsara there. Till we have that wrong notion that we are in Maya, we are product of Maya, we are bound by Maya, we are controlled by Maya. When we have that idea, then birth and death are inevitable. So samsaras tan nibandhoyam, then samsara binds that in, how does it bind? Through transmigration. In reality, and the knowledge of the self serves to destroy this. Vidyat pungso vidyat chit atmana. This Atmana, how will it be freed? How this bondage of samsara, this janma marana chakra, birth and death, the cycle of birth and death, how will you get freed from this cycle, vicious cycle that goes on? Um, we get birth, do karma, old karma, the all karma together, bring us another birth, all vasanas are always there. How will we be freed? Only way to get free from this cycle of birth and death. Break the cycle. It's it. You break the cycle. How do you do that? And the knowledge of the self, vidyat, atmana vidyat, by the knowledge of the self alone. Uh, what is knowledge of the self? Knowledge of the self is not identifying with the body, this which is ever changing, which came in time, one time, and which will go away in another time. Not to identify with this moving, transmigrating, coming and going back thing in this body, uh, but to identify with the Atman, the eternal, pure consciousness, that true witness, that is real self. And when that knowledge comes, that I am not this body that is created by Maya for certain time in this life, and it has come into existence, and it will go away as it is to its parts, to its molecules by which it is created. So, if we do not understand that and identify mm, with this compound or mixture of different molecules as myself, then we have to go through that. So when we understand I am not this body, this compound of things, I am the witness consciousness, then there is no problem uh, with ignorance, and there is the transmigration totally ceases. You become free. You are mukta. When that happens, you are a realized soul. You are a free person. You have attained moksha or mukti. So that's what about the ultimate, what you practice spirituality, the goal is freedom. That's why Swami Vivekananda says, freedom is the song of the soul. Soul is always saying, freedom, freedom, that is the sweet song of the soul. Less than that, nothing. And what is that freedom? Just having the knowledge that I am that self, which is not bound by these laws of nature, which is not part of the nature that have control over it through time, space, and causation. I am beyond all that. I was never born, I never die. I am always free. I am unlimited and everywhere. I am the nature of Satchidananda Swarupa, Chidananda Rupa Shiva I am. When we have that type of idea starts coming about ourself, that is my true self, then comes cessation of all suffering and stoppage of transmigration, the cycle of birth and death stops only then, and that is called mukti is attained. Therefore, we have to stop this cycle of birth and death. This samsara has to go away. For that, we have to gain the knowledge of the self, who I am. That we have to understand. Then it is said, next verse we go, verse 11. Tasmad jigyasayatmanam atmastham kevalam param sangamya nirasedetad vastu buddhim yathakramam. Therefore, by means of discrimination, one should unite the soul to the absolute self, which is in the body. So that is, we identify ourselves with the body. So this absolute self is also in the body, as it were, as if it is there in the body. So we have to unite or understand through discernment that the soul and the absolute self, Atma and Paramatma, are same. This Atma that we see individual self, Atman is one with the absolute self. So what is in the body? In the body, we think there is Atma, that ego, Jivatma. And that Jivatma is not there, there is no existence of Jivatma. The concept of Jivatma is totally, it is just an idea that came, wrong notion that has come. So Jivatma has to merge in the real Atma, that is the Paramatma. That's why Param Kevalam Atmam. So that's why absolute self, it has to unite. We, and remove the idea of reality in the body, etc. Sangamya nirase detat vastu buddhim yathakramam. And then the idea is the real that has to go. Then vastu buddhi, vastu means the reality. The idea of reality in the body has to be nirasedetat. It has to be removed. How will it be removed? Through vichara. Sri Ramakrishna says that's why sadhu sangha and and mm, nama japa and kirtana, nama guna kirtana, and then he said sadasat vichara. So sadasat vichara, that vichara, sad is Sat is eternal. That is my real nature. That is the Paramatma. That is my real nature. Asat is the from ego to this gross body. All are asat. That is that I am not. So this jivatma I am not. So whatever idea of atma jivatma I have, that has to merge with Paramatma. Paramatma alone is reality, and that I am. Tat tvam asi. You are the tvam, that you think you to be the individualized self, that you are not. You are that. Individual self is the wrong idea of what you are. You have by mistake made yourself small, weak, hopeless, and dependent. In fact, you are infinite. You are you are invincible, and you are infinite, huge, vast, and you are blissful, free from fear, indestructible. You are so that think our reality is somehow by mistake we identify with something that is perishable, that is weak, that is conditioned, that is dependent on so many things, that is temporary, that has temporary existence. So it is a pity to for such a great being to identify with such a small thing. Very incorrect identification that we have when we think that we are body. So the Shastras want us to realize our true nature, who you are, that the Shastras do. What Shastras say, like the Jambavan, when Hanuman said, how can I cross this ocean? It is so vast, I cannot do that. So Jambavan was a wise person. And Jambavan went and says to Hanuman, you say you cannot cross this ocean? Have you forgotten how powerful you are? You have been to sun to eat the sun as the fruit. You could you could soar so high. You could walk. You could travel so long. This ocean is nothing for you. Only you have to understand who you are. So he was doing the work of a scripture or a teacher, the Dhamma was doing, making, he didn't give any power or any machine to Hanuman. Hanuman could cross the ocean by his own power, but that power was forgotten, that his real nature he had forgotten. So that there is the thing that gurus or teachers or the scriptures that come to our help. They just show us the way. They just tell us who we are. And we, with our own power, we cut asunder with chain. So we cut asunder the ignorance that ties us. We are tied with the ignorance that I am this body, I will die one day, I will become sick. Oh, what will happen to my children? What will happen to the people that I love? If I die, who will look after them? All those sorts of wrong ideas come. And this ego comes that I am the one who looks after, totally forgotten that it is all God that makes the world move. He is the one who takes care of everyone that comes to this world. And, that's how the thing happens. Once one Swami, Sridhara Swami, in fact, who wrote the commentary or the gloss on the Gita, so he In his childhood, he was thinking, if I become a monk, what will happen? Who will look after my parents and all that? And then suddenly he was just thinking what to do, a great desire to become a monk, renounced, and had great love for his parents. So when he was thinking like that, suddenly he saw that one this lizard, house lizard, its egg fell on the ground, and from this small lizard came very tiny. So he thought, he pitied, now who will take care? It just fell down on the ground, so how will he eat? He cannot even walk, it cannot even walk, no question of it's getting food, it will just perish now. So he was thinking that way. And that very moment when it came into existence, that small tiny house lizard just hatched from the egg. So one small insect just came flying, just came near its mouth. Just it has to there bring out the tongue and eat that. Then he realized that it is God who makes everything, who provides to all. Why do I worry that who will provide to my parents? It is not that I provide. Similarly, it is not that we provide to our children. It is all God providing them. He will definitely look after, because He is the one who is looking after. We do nothing. We do little of our sentimental work and feel that we are doing. So, তোমার কর্ম তুমি করো মা লোকে বলে করি আমি. You do your work, O Lord, O Mother, but people say, I am doing this. Nothing I am doing. Or your work you are doing, you just energize me and you make me do. That is the only your role. If I am not there, you choose someone else, you take me, you finish my work, this karma prarabdha gone, and I quit this world. And then other person comes to look to perform your action. Swami Vivekananda says, after I was in trouble, when I surrendered to Mother, after that the divine Mother Kali took possession of me and her slave, made me her slave. And after, since then, she has been doing everything to me, through me. He is running this the things through me. Whatever I am doing, it is all being done as on the behest of the Divine Mother Kali. I have nothing of my own. All is her inspiration, her power, her guidance. That is what we have to realize. We don't do anything until and unless God gives us knowledge and power, we cannot do. So, whatever we are doing by the power of the divine. So, we should not worry for anything, that God is the real doer. That's why it said, mm, so discernment between the non-self and the true self, and the true self is my true self, which and that discernment, that idea of identification with the true self, will come through knowledge, and that knowledge has to be God. And that knowledge will come when we are pure and we have a desire to know, and have a desire for freedom from this repeated cycle of birth and death. So many lives, innumerable lives we have been going through, being born in some body and dying. Oh, I'm dying. And again you born, again you die. So this is the moment, this is the life that we should strive to get freed from the cycle of birth and death. And we go back to our own true nature, to our own glory. We have forgotten totally our glory and made ourselves so diminutive, minute person, being. Who I am is totally forgotten of my true nature, and made so pitiable condition of myself, little of something and I become disturbed, whereas I am not supposed to be disturbed by anything, because I am all, I am everywhere, I am the vast, nothing can do anything that is harmful for me. So like that idea makes us so strong and powerful. Let's go to next verse. Acharyo Raniradyasyaat ante vasyuttararani tatsandhanam pravachanam vidya sandhi sukha tatsandhanam pravachanam vidya sandhi sukhavah. So here gives an allegory of bringing fire. He talks about the teacher and the taught. And it's like the fire that is brought in the ancient times. You know that Arani caste, there are some woods where the fire is more manifest and it can come by little friction. Not every fire you can bring by little friction. In some fire, it will come through. You have to ignite the fire. Then the fire, the hidden fire that blazes forth. But there are some special kind of wood. If you rub it quite fast, then it becomes hot and really the fire comes out, the spark comes out, which can ignite the cotton or something that catches fire really. And that cotton, from that the fire is um, blazed forth. That's how the fire used to be got. Earlier there was no matchstick. So fire was come by the friction of one wood, arani wood, on another. So here it gives things, and the fire is to come. That is illumine, that you give warmth, and the real essence of warmth and light used to be there, just by friction, by rubbing two pieces of wood. So acharyo araniradyasya anteva syuttararani. The teacher should be looked upon as the first or lower churning piece. So small piece they put on the lower piece, and there is the stick of arani. Then you just churn the upper piece or the lower piece. The lower piece is the teacher. So teacher supports the student. Otherwise, where this rod, small firewood rod will go. So that small root. So that teacher supports this the rod, small piece of rod that is churned on that lower piece, and the upper piece is a student. So student is the one by whose questioning, by whose interaction with the teacher, that fire comes from the teacher. And that fire, that knowledge, what is fire? It says that Tatsandhanam pravachanam vidya. From that, the student, the upper one, instruction is the piece connecting them. So they get connected, and there is the instruction how to do, what to do. Without that, the fire will not come. So teacher guides them how to practice this vichara, how to lead a life, holy life, life of discernment and purity. There's all the instruction that is done. So fire is the process of fire being done. So that is the instruction is the connecting them, that small piece that connects both the upper wood and the lower base. And knowledge is the union that conduces to happiness. And when that if friction is done, then what comes out in place of fire done in the firewood or arani caster? Here, when student and teacher meet, and this teacher gives instruction, and this practice is like churning. By churning the instruction, by churning or practicing the instruction of the teacher, now knowledge comes. There, by churning the upper wood with the lower wood, then fire comes. Here the knowledge comes. Knowledge and fire are very symbolic. Fire is the symbolic of knowledge. Knowledge, sometimes you see a lighted lamp, that is the flame, that is the symbol of knowledge. How, why this fire became symbol of knowledge? Because knowledge is the thing that dispels ignorance and shows you the right thing. And here, the fire or the lamp is the thing that dispels darkness. When darkness is there, you know nothing. What is there, where you get stuck, where you get yourself bumped, you don't know anything. But when light comes, then you can see everything. The knowledge has come. What is there in the room? How far, how big is the room? How to walk? Where is the walking place? Where is the table, chair? All this is revealed by lamp or fire. So fire is like knowledge. When you have knowledge, you didn't know about the Atman, you were thinking yourself, this body and the Atman, knowledge dawns, and the idea of, not, of Atman is revealed to you. And then you know everything, that this temporary world is not the real life. And then you understand the true nature of yourself, true nature of the world, and you become free from all the worries, anxieties, troubles, depression. All things vanish. And if nothing can disturb you, you become so elevated. so elevated in your thought, nothing in the world can disturb you. Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tata yasmin sthito na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. Gurunapi dukkhena na vichalyate. Might be heaviest of miseries, heaviest of sorrow cannot disturb the person who has realized the ultimate truth, where one gets established. That is called freedom, moksha, or jivan mukti. When you have attained, nothing can really disturb you. And that is what it says, that fire has come by coming in contact of the student and the teacher. Students' question and teacher's instruction become the contact with them, and this churning of these two together comes out the knowledge. Knowledge, where does it come to knowledge? Of course, in the student. Teacher is already has knowledge. So, as if that fire that was inside the student, that comes out. Hmm? And that fire becomes a blaze, and the fire, then some other small pieces of wood is given, little fire is generated, then you put the big blocks, and then big blocks burn, and huge fire is created. The warmth and the light that is now produced by from a wood or a Nikasta. So that's how teacher and student come together. Student asks some question, desirous of getting mukti, asks some question. Teacher gives instruction, and that is the uniting thing. And then the student practices that tapasa brahma vijigyasasva, practices tapas or focuses on the teaching. You are not the body, you are the Atman. So tries to disidentify from the body, and that practice of discernment from the unreal body to the real self. And then he gets the glimpse of the real self, and the self is self revealed, that his own self, his Atman, is in fact the ultimate self. When that is revealed, the fire is ablaze. Now nothing can disturb this student. He has got the knowledge, he has got the distinction or discernment from the body. So, like that, it is tatsandhanam pravatanam vidya sandhi sukhavaha. When that fire comes, what happens? That fire of knowledge comes, that atma jnana comes, there comes sukha, a peace and bliss, that ananda, sukha is. This ananda comes. It's not the pleasure. It's not the pleasure that is born of senses with the sense object. Eating rasagulla or seeing a nice thing that I wanted to see. There's joy in seeing beautiful Himalayas or sunrise. A subtle joy, but still it is a sangsparsaja bhoga. It is coming through the senses, coming in touch, contact with the sense objects. But this sukha that comes from the knowledge of the true self is not dependent on anything. It is there inside us. That knowledge is self evident and self presenting itself. It doesn't depend on anything else, nothing by the contact of senses with the sense objects. So, this knowledge of the self, bringing that sukha, that's what is needed. And knowledge is the union that comes conduces to happiness. That happiness is the true happiness that happens when we know our true self. Then is real happiness and ultimate peace. Yadi shanti chauma karu dos dekho na. So mother said, uh, don't find fault with others if you want peace of mind. Not finding fault is trying to find the oneness with others. So when you see oneness with others, then you don't find fault with hatred or feeling that other person. So that type of idea comes when we do not treat others as others, then we stop seeing fault in them. And that seeing fault, that changes, brings all negative idea about other person in our mind, that goes away. We go towards loving others. We love others, and love unites. Unity of all this existence, unity with all this our brothers and sisters, that fellow feeling, everyone is my brother and sister. That is the movement towards realization of the self. And that's when that happens, then you get peace. When you feel everyone is yours, you don't criticize anyone, you don't have any envy or jealousy towards anyone, then there is peace. So that peace is equated with the happiness. Happiness and peace are the same thing. There can be no asantasya kutasukam. When one is restless, has no has not found that oneness, has always been separating and comparing and then competing. Then how can there be sukha? So there is no sukha in that. There is no happiness in that. So happiness comes through shanti. All your desires are gone. All your feeling of separateness is gone. You have the power to make feel all are your own brothers and sisters. And rather, it's if you go further, your own self appearing as other persons. When that unity with everyone comes, then there is sukham or shanti that Kathopanishad also says. If you see only differences here, there is no peace, there is no happiness. Tesham Shanti, Shashwati, Netaresham. Only those who find oneness with the whole creation, oneness with all, only they have Shashwati Shanti, eternal peace, not others, not Itaresham. Others who cannot find that unity, and then there is no peace for them. So that's why Holy Mother is saying, do not find fault with others. It's a very first step of finding that unity, understanding our true self. It is like the message like Tattvamasi said so beautifully. Don't find fault with others. It's like Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi at the end, but it begins from there. If we practice that, then we will reach the understanding of Tattvamasi. I am that. That's so Vedantic is the teaching of Holy Mother. So let me read the meaning. The teacher should be looked upon as the first or the lower churning piece, and the student the upper one. Instruction is the piece connecting them, and knowledge is the union that conduces to happiness. Now, here it goes, gives the footnotes the Swami Madhavanand has given. The allusion is to the ancient method of generating fire by rubbing a piece of wood pressed between two other pieces. As fire destroys impurities, so the knowledge derived by a fit disciple from a competent guru dispels ignorance that veils his true nature. An echo of Taittiriya Upanishad, chapter 1, verse 2, the teacher is the first form, etc. There are also these two things are said, first form, second form, and there is the connector and there is the joint, like that is Sandhanam, that's there in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So now today's we go to the today's last verse. Today we will finish little early. Today's last verse we go. Verse 13 of the chapter 5 in the Uddhava Gita. Vaisharadi sati vishuddha buddhi dhunoti mayam gunasam prasutam gunaksa sandahya yadatma metat swayam cha samyati asa asavidyathagni. So the highly refined wisdom which comes in or of a competent person. Vaisharadi, we know Visharad, that Ganita Visharada or Sahitya Visharad, we know the Vyakarana Visharad. Visharad means a competent person, expert, skilled person. Uh, what it gets? So, Ati Vishuddha Buddhi, the highly refined wisdom. Vishuddha itself is Shuddha Buddhi itself is pure mind. Then Vishuddha Buddhi is highly purified. Ati Vishuddha Buddhi, that attained the highly refined wisdom which comes to a competent person. What does it do? Highly refined Buddhi. What happens with that Buddhi? With that buddhi, the person starts seeing the right thing. That discernment starts happening. He is not indulged and is not disturbed by the appearance or by the few words that is spoken or by the simple behavior of the person. That person who has ati vishuddha buddhi, he starts seeing the real person, real witness, real God, real divinity present in another person, and is not distracted or deluded by the speech or the behavior of another person. So that is what is called ati vishuddha buddhi, and this becomes competent vaisharati, it becomes visharad. So what it does, uh, is competent but removes the delusion which is the product of the gunas. Dhunoti mayam gunasam prasutam. Dhunoti removes. Dhunoti is like wash, it cleans. Dhona, kapda dhona, I say in Hindi also it is said. What is that washing? Washing is removing dirt, removing impurity from whatever cloth you have. So, dhunoti, the Sanskrit word. And that, what is the dhunoti, what it cleans? Mayam. It removes the maya. How the maya comes? Guna samprasutam. Maya, which is the product of gunas. And gunas, the whole creation is made up of three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. That's why three guna. And when we go beyond these three gunas, then it's the triguna, trigunatita, gunatita, like that thing. So this gunas keep us indulged in this world, make us worldly. And when we go beyond the gunas, we have become freed from the clutches of Maya, clutches of gunas. So when we have highly purified intellect, refined wisdom, then we remove the delusion, remove the impurity or ignorance, which is the product of the gunas. And gunas sandahya edatma tetat. So what these gunas do, and this and completely burning the gunas of which this universe consists. So gunas sandahya yadatma metat, yat atma metat. This whatever we see, that all is burned, made up of gunas. By whom it is burned? Who has ati vishuddha buddhi, that person burns all the gunas. Burns means no gunas, no quality of the worldliness can affect that person. All gunas are burned. He has become freed from the gunas, like the rope are also gunas. We are all bound by the gunas, as it were. So these gunas are all burnt, and we become free from the bondage of the karma or the gunas, and we become free, and we our eyes that are closed and couldn't see the real hidden thing, now it is open, and we can see the truth, we can see the divinity, we can see the person of the person. External, these things doesn't bother anymore to us. What someone says, how one behaved, how behaved well or bad, this is all external. That doesn't affect us. So we become wiser. That's why wisdom comes from the purity of mind. And then when the gunas are burned, then we become really free. स्वयं च साम्यत्य समिद्य samidyathagni. Oh, again brings the example of samit and agni, and gives the previous verse, and he brings that when gunas are burnt, and gives the example. It consists is itself extinguished, like also like fire without fuel. So it has become Samya, Shanta, the fire without fuel. How can there be fire? The fire earlier said was in the sense of knowledge. Here, fire is said something that blazes forth like desire, fire of desire. Little different meaning of the fire. When the fire, when it is, if you don't have fuel feeding to fire, fire will not come. It has fire has the flames have become quietened. The desires no more are there. What are the indhan? What are the summit? That summit is said. What are the summit? The summit is the desires that feed us, the vasanas that feed us. I want this. I need this. All those things are gone. You don't need anything. You know you are purna. Purnamada, Purnamidam, that knowledge has been there. Nothing is lacking in you. So that makes you feel like you have attained everything in life. No more thing is to be attained, no more desire is there. So you have become Shamya. All fire is now burnt. You have attained Nirvana. It is gone, Nirvapita. And that it is called in Vedanta also. There is verse that Nira, Nirandhana Ivanala. That is what verse said in Vivek Chudamani. Nirindhana Ivanala. Indhana is fuel and anala is fire. Fire has to comes when there is the fuel feeding to it. When there is no fuel, how the fire will be there? What happens with fire? It becomes samya. It quietens. There is peace. Without fire, there is peace. No more desire is there. So like that, it becomes. It says. So that is the thing when mind has become purified and the expert now feels that all his desires are gone and he is now has attained the peace. That is peace. Attainment of peace comes through the knowledge of the self. Otherwise, how will you have peace? Peace comes only when our desires are fulfilled. If any desire comes, that starts making us restless. It is like the fire has been blazed. Now, how do you control that restlessness of the mind, which makes your body move? You want to strive and want to get that. It just become restless to attain whatever you wished, you wanted. Now, there are two ways to quieten your mind. One is if you get that thing what you wanted, mind becomes quiet. Another is through our thought, discernment. Why I am so restless? Why do I need that thing? Do I really need that? Or it just is the whim of my mind? So and you analyze and you find you really don't need the thing so badly. And without that also your life goes on well. When you can discern and you can remove that fire. You can just douse the fire of desire. Then also peace comes. So that's how peace comes when fire is extinguished. Fire of desire is extinguished. When you meet your desire is fulfilled, it is extinguished. But all desires are not fulfilled. You fulfill your desire, another desire comes. So the only way to extinguish the fire of desire is to use our intellect, to purify our intellect. So that's why Sa Ati Vishuddha Buddhi, that is needed to be done. So Guna, Sattva, Tamas, extinguished, etc. There's no more knower, knowledge, and known. There is only Brahman. That is called Triputi Loy. Means all three things are gone. Knower, I want to know Brahman. I am the knower of knowledge. Nothing is there, and the knowledge is also not there. All have become one. You have become one with reality. So you don't seek anything. You don't have desire for anything. You are just peaceful. You are just happy. You are just quiet and so joyful. Don't want anything. Don't need anything. So that is called Triputi Loy. All three things have become one. This seem to be something to be desired, something to desirous, and the action of getting that. All have become one. Desire, desirous, and the action for obtaining the desired objects is not there. So how can one desire something? Like the knower, knowledge, and the known, all these three has become one. What that one is, that is Brahman. That is the reality. So when our mind becomes pure, gradually we move to this state of peacefulness, this state of blissfulness and joyfulness. So that is the only way that our scriptural uh, teachings and our spiritual practice that leads us to this stage when we become firm in our ideas. Nothing external moves, nothing internal moves. More than external, we are often driven by the internal desires and all illusions or illusions, all this they come to us, vasana and kamana. All those things, they disturb so much to us. And then external thing with because of internal this vasana and kamana, that desires and delusions, by that comes external thing, or we become weak, and little stimulus from outside, then comes all the reaction of anger or greed or jumping. All that comes because we have become weakened. So strength comes when we know the truth that the established is there. Then you are immovable, you are peaceful, you are joyful. And not only that, you are in that state joyful for yourself, you start radiating that joy to others. So that is the life that Sri Krishna says to Uddhava. You have to attain that through asat vichara. Try to understand who you are. Unless you know your true nature, you have not attained the goal. Only there is the movement towards that. Trying to attain that is there. And this reality, knowledge of the self is attainable. The more you make mind pure, more you feel oneness with others, more you refuse to see the fault and defects in others, more you treat others as your own and have the forgiveness and compassion uh, for others, and less of desires for your own being, there is contentment and satisfaction in what you have, the more you become closer to that realization of who I am. And finally, we know I am Atma Brahman. This Atman is Brahman that we understand, and we reach the goal. Sri Krishna is teaching Uddhava, and through that, we all are being benefited. So see you uh, next Friday, and next Friday will be in person. Sorry, this Friday we can do it in person. It is online only, but next Friday we'll meet again. Whoever can come, please come. We'll do in person. Thank you very much. We close with the closing chant. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmu. Good night to all of you. Thank you for attending the class online.